welcome back to the model bench. So I am starting on the superstructure at last. I've got the forecastle in place, so that's all looking good. I've added a lot of details. Got the well deck in place, so that's all looking good. I've obviously got the railings and stuff to add in here and some of the other little parts, but I'm leaving them for the moment. Got all my fibre optics in place, got the rear well deck in place, and got the poop deck in place again with a lot of details that I'm kind of happy enough to put in, but I'm going to leave all this detail till later on. So basically what I'm going to do next is I'm going to glue this part in place. I've got my fibre optics for the lights just dropped into the hull, so they all look good. Then what I'll do is I'll glue on the two sides here and here, and then I'll drop in the deck, because I think I'm having a little bit of a fit issue with it up here, so I might have to do some modification on that, but we'll see anyway. But that's where I am at the moment. I'll show you now the two sides and the deck that's going to go in. So I have my two sides more or less prepared. I had to remove the plastic parts from the kit part and then just add in the KA photo etch. So they turned out really nice. A lot of work, very fiddly, but I'm happy enough with those. I've obviously got to prime these now and paint them white. So they're looking really good. Then this is the deck that's going to go in. Obviously with each of these parts I'll have to remove the doors, just sand them off, because I have photo etch parts to replace them. Same with down here, just remove all the doors. And I've got, like, you know, photo etch handrails and windows to add and glass to add, so that should be good. And then ladders as well, 2 ladders either side. I've also got to add the decking, the scale decking on these parts, so I have them ready, prepared. So yeah, the fifth problem I'm talking about is when I put this part up near the poop deck, just at the rear, I'm just finding that this section here is just a little bit too long almost, and I can't really get the back piece in here. Now I'm hoping that once these parts are in place, this deck is obviously going to sit along here, so I'm hoping that will kind of raise it up a little bit and then pull that back, and then I'll have enough to drop the piece in, and we will see. But I'm just going to concentrate on getting on these parts painted. I've also added these little bit of photo etch parts here because they're going to be white. I've seen some people paint them brown, but I think they look better white. So yeah, I just have to prime these parts and then paint them white, get the decking installed, and remove all the parts on these, add the photo etch, and then paint these, prime them and paint them white, and then we'll go from there. But the next step will be to glue these two parts in place. So yeah, quite a lot of bit of work, but it should look really well. At least we're starting on the superstructure. I think I might paint these in as well. I'm not sure how much you'll see them, but I think I'll just give them a coat of brown just in case. That's where I am at the moment, so I will get on and start preparing the next few pieces, and yeah, hopefully it will be smooth sailing. Oh, I've also painted in the name and added the anchors, so it's all looking good. Okay, let's crack on. So here's my photo etch installed. I just sanded off the original doors and have all the photo etch installed, including the ladders. It's mainly doors really. These pieces here, actually, once I have it painted white, the glass will go in and then the frame will go in, and same with here, the likes of here. Oh, and on these ones as well, it's kind of like, they look like two kind of grills, but they need glass and then they'll go in. So all looking good. I have that wall installed, so I'm going to give these a little primer, white primer, and then I'll airbrush over in white. So we'll get on with that. So here are my parts, all painted. Windows are in, got the glass in them as well, and the window frames. I think I might leave these ladders white. This just to show you a selection of what I've done. So these are all in. Be careful of these ones. These 4 windows have the little bar across them, but these last 2 windows don't. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. So these are all ready to go, ready to install. And I've also got my one of the sides done. So this is the side ready to go. I have some windows to put in here, just little glass windows, and I've also got little photo etch parts to put on top of them to give them that kind of edge on both sides. I almost touched that up. Yeah, and there's a couple of other little bits to go on here, but I'll leave them until the piece is in place. So yeah, pretty happy with how this turned out. I've got all the photo etch there in place. I'll check all that before I put it in. I think there might be some missing, but yeah, looking good. So I'm going to get on with putting the windows in and then the little photo etch parts on top of them, and then we look at doing the decks. So here's one of my side pieces. As you can see, I've got all the glass installed. I added a few little bits of photo etch here, and a little door there, and I've painted the tops of the rails. Again, I might need to just touch some of that up. I've installed all. I went with fibre optic in the end. I just found it really difficult working with the tiny little glass portholes, so I just went with the fibre optics. So that seems to be okay. Yeah, so looking good. Very happy with that. Again, I'll do a final pass on it and just see what kind of touch-ups I have to do. I also added in the little photo etch pieces here. They're not really, I think they could have been a little bit nicer, so I'm still a bit on the fence about how they turned out. Sure, it's fine. Once it's lit up, I'm hoping it will give that kind of effect. We'll see. And finally, here is the deck. That's all completed. Just a little touch up on that I have to do. I painted these hatches, just painted them white and then just a little bit of sky grey on top just to give the illusion of a tarp. I painted in my stairs. Again, I'm not sure they're going to be really seen, but just gave a bit of a wash of brown. I then glued in my scale decks, and I just cut away where the actual piece is going to fit, just so that it's not raised up. Gave this a bit of a coat of white just in case. Same with here. So yeah, it's looking good. I'll show you what I'm going to do for the lighting on this one. So for the lighting on this deck, I'm going to just install little strips of the LEDs just behind the wall like this. And then obviously what I'll do is I'll solder wires going from here to here, and then from here onwards, attaching to all the other places that the lights will be. Obviously I'll add a resistor, and I'm hoping that will be then enough illumination just to come through. The windows should be fine. I have 3 cords in the main hull, three power cords. So one of them I'll bring up probably through here, and then that will be the power source for all of them. So everything's ready, everything's in place, just have to put it all together, and fingers crossed it all works. I have all my LEDs installed, got my walls installed, my decking in place. I brought a wire from underneath that has a connector, so that's going to connect into the hull. The wire comes up and then I just daisy chained it around. Did all my soldering, very pleased with that. And just a little bit of hot glue over them just to make sure they're not going to get pulled. So really happy with that. As I said before, I'm not really great with the old soldering, but it seems to work. I'll show you that now lit up. Have my power cable in with my little remote piece installed, and I just have it sitting in place. As you can see, it's connected there. So that wire is coming from the hull. Have it connected, and then the little connector there into the deck. So we'll switch her on, fingers crossed. And there we go. All lights working. Very happy with that. That should be fine once the other deck is on top of it. That should be fine. If I need to hide these, I will. But you know, I'm happy enough with that. I'm not going to stress too much about the lighting. That should be really nice. So the next step will be obviously to put on the side pieces and then to sit this deck on top, and hopefully everything will fit snugly, and then I can start building the next couple of decks on top of that. But so far so good. All lights working, looking really nice. Here's where I'm at the moment. All done. I haven't glued this in place yet. I think I'm actually going to change a plan. I was going to glue in the sides, but don't make the mistake I made. I had the sides glued in, and of course I couldn't get this deck then in because it wouldn't go down. So I just glued the sides onto this deck, and I think I'm just going to build the superstructure up until I get it kind of in place, and then I will glue this down. So there's a lot of little touch-ups I'm going to have to do just with the way it went down, but otherwise I'm pretty happy. Everything seems to be lining up really nicely. This will obviously get glued into place, and this was the part I was worried about not fitting quite right, but it seems fine. So that should be fine once I glue it all in. Everything's lining up really nicely. Lights still work as well and they look really good. And you can see I just put in the sun cover ropes just along here. I just put in some of the roping between the coaling riggers. So that looks, yeah, that gives it a little extra level of detail, so that's quite nice. So I think the next step will be I might do some touch-ups, and then I'm going to start working on the next deck, the B deck, to go on top of all this. I did a test fit with it and it seems to be fine, so that'll be the next step. So that's where I'm at. I'm pretty happy with how it went, because I've heard horror stories about people's hulls just being out of shape and not lining up and all that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty pleased that everything's gone in. Everything seems to be okay. So yeah, so I hope this was helpful. Just, you know, my mistakes hopefully might save you making the same. And until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.